But it was what happened to Tom that hit Bertha the most. Tom was alone when it designed to help around the factory. He served his brothers for a couple of years. He even became a childlike figure to Bertha. But after the graduation of the television series, what became of Tom was unspeakable. Hey, you. Yeah, you there. Did you know I like Bertha? You don't care? Do you think that matters to me? Hello, Doug Stopper here. As you know, I'm a pretty big fan of the obscure 1985 Woodland Animations production Bertha. My earliest memory of Bertha goes back when I was in my young years in preschool. Remember, we had a TV in the classroom, there was DVDs, and the teacher would just go, "Alright, you snot-nosed little children, we're gonna pop on something and we expect you to shut up for 2 hours." Basically, that was what it was in a nutshell. And I remember they must have had like the best machine competition DVD, and they like popped it on. And yes, I had forgot about Bertha for years. Only thing I remember, there was a big machine, small robots, some guy that had postman part R with a nose, and oh, so the big green machine was Bertha. I want to remember the actual name of the show, despite the account name I remember was actually shared the same name for the title of the show, so still fuming. But what truly reminded me of the series was when I was looking at YouTuber pualsvids YouTube channel, see what he was doing before he made Shed 17. Then I stumbled on his old videos and I seen, oh, what's this? Bertha the True Story. Oh, it's not like just that one obscure show I watched when I was little, and yes, it was, and I don't think I actually watched the videos until like 2 days later because I was too busy binging the series. I always wanted to do a video on Bertha the True Story, and think since it's turning 15 very soon, I thought I'd make a video reviewing it. See, was it very true and accurate to the actual TV series? Let's find out, Siri. Before actually talking about the video, I think it's important we establish what inspired Paul to make Bertha the True Story and who pualsvids as a person as a whole. pualsvids was a YouTuber who joined in late 2009. You may know for his popular Thomas the Tank Engine, Set 17, Rory the Coach, and PC Adventures. But before all that, he mostly did parody, more so horror parodies on other 80s classics like Fraggle Rock, Short Circuit, and of course, the lovely Bertha. The story goes when what inspires Paul to make True Story. He was at work one day and he taught himself. I wonder if Bertha was real. So the whole concept was, what would be the logistical things if Bertha was real? Like, would it be a witch's presidency? Would it be a whole debate about Bertha sentience? So that's what brought us to True Story. One of the parts started with sensible things, and it kind of turned into more of a horror thing. But I think it was the explanation, like, it's time to actually review this thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first time did his iconic tricking to think the video's Woden logo started.
Bertha, lovely Bertha, you are a lovely machine, and anyone who works with you.
Something Paul was really grateful for Despite how obscure the show was, the intros made it, according to him, the intro made it obvious what the show was about. It was an intro you can watch and get to understand everything, so lucky for him, he could play this scene and everyone who even hasn't watched the show could get what this is meant to be.
Will know just what I mean. Whoa, Bertha, lovely Bertha. Sometimes I think you're a dream when we work out what you have to.
Something I just want to bring up here. Paul uses completely different stock footage from the show than the actual intro does. But judging the fact the push part he was placed in was credited in the voice actors, and this is meant to be an universe documentary, I say Paul took the less confusion route and just added different stock footage of Bertha walking.
And I think that's very likely. Oh, Bertha, lovely Bertha.
If you were hoping for Tom to do something crazy in this, sorry, this is the only role he plays in this whole video. Apparently, pualsvids said he couldn't think of anything to do with Tom. That could have been a great horror element. That's basically a robot gyro to a sentient conveyor belt.
Sometimes I think you're a dream when we work out what you have to do. You can know when the good's out, only when the good's out. It depends upon you.
Foreshadowing is crazy.
The Bertha project started in the late 70s by...
Clearly no one told Paul about in the show's universe. Bertha is 50 years old, and by that logic, doing the math, Bertha would have been built in 1930. So,
It was an experiment to create artificial intelligence, and was in its early stages with the prototype Bertha, a self-maintaining conveyor belt production machine.
missed opportunity to make this Mr. Sport.
Well, when Claydine went into receivership, our manager bought the original Bertha for use in the...
Wow, this documentary was so important. Mr. Duncan had to dress all fancy for the documentary. That's how you know this was important stuff.
Spotty's Wooden Company obtained Bertha with the intention of automating their own production process.
Almost immediately, Mr. Wilmate started making redundancies. Rumours started flying around about half the workforce being made redundant.
A few people were upset by Bertha coming in, but it was the early 80s and times were changing.
Wait, they were protesting? I thought they were just listening to the theme song.
Bertha, lovely Bertha, you are a lovely machine, and anyone who works with you will know just what I mean. Oh, Bertha, lovely.
Sure, Bertha had some teething problems when she started working here, but we managed to work around that.
It was Bertha's little mistakes and problems that people found so endearing, and that led to the BBC's interest.
That's right, the BBC basically sat down and looked at this faulty machine and said, that would make a great children's television series. I went to so by that logic I could do a children's show about my microwave.
Bertha, lovely Bertha.
Aye, when the TV programme came out, it really put Spotswood & Co on the map, and everyone wanted to meet Bertha.
When the children's television program started, the debate about Bertha's artificial intelligence really took off. People began questioning whether Bertha was indeed self-aware, and therefore a living being.
Well, clearly Michael Jackson was more important if the scientific breakthrough has been put in the weather corner on the front cover of a magazine.
Some people agreed Bertha was alive, others were seemingly insulted by the idea.
Well, you didn't need to ask us whether Bertha was alive or not.
Didn't you try to get rid of Bertha in one episode? And I'm pretty sure they used footage from that episode in about 5 seconds in this video.
She was alive to me, and to all of us that worked with her.
Things started to go bad when Mr. Wilmate hired Mr. Lancaster as assistant manager.
Fun fact, pualsvids said he based Mr. Lancaster off a real person he actually knew and hated in real life. Back when he used to do wrestling videos with his mates. Well, he was not a nice guy, so... It's funny to me, the real Mr. Lancaster is walking around somewhere not known, probably Space made fun of it in a video about a sentient conveyor belt. He's walking around society not knowing what he's contributed to society.
Straight away, people didn't like him. He liked to make changes, to take over, throw his substantial weight around.
The TV show had become the company's main income, and
You really tell me 13 episodes kept this factory running for that long?
suddenly there were more staff than was needed. So Mr. Lancaster came in to streamline the whole process.
Security was replaced by
If he says they got rid of security, does he mean Tom? Because in the Buggers episode, there's no security. They kind of like walk right in, and if it wasn't for Tom, they would have stole our money scot-free. So, are they implying they got rid of Tom?
cameras, and the office staff were mostly replaced thanks to a newfangled computer networking system.
There was talk of me being replaced by this new computer system, just as a lot of other staff were being laid off.
But it was when Roy was laid off that Bertha was hurt the most.
Roy, my boy, no! Damn you, Mr. Lancaster!
Bertha's positronic brain had a tendency to make connections with certain people. Some would call it a friendship with people.
After hearing this, we can now rule with the pualsvids. There's someone in the Buffy universe for pualsvids twisted version. That someone has made a deep connection with the television.
He started for a few weeks on work experience, and then, after Bertha took a shine to him, we kept him on.
Just after Roy was fired, we started having problems with the computer network. Mr. Wilmate's console in his office started getting strange, garbled images.
It took some time to decipher the images that were appearing on the network. But eventually they realised they were coming from Bertha herself.
Nah, if I fired someone from my business and some machinery started sending me images of that person, I get the hell out of there.
One night, Mr. Lancaster was working on the factory floor.
He liked to work late, since he'd laid off most of the production staff.
Mr. Duncan says he likes to work late, implying he used to do the jobs of the people he basically got fired. Does that mean, like, there's only, like, Nell and Flo and Roy in the factory floor? So is Ted, like, doing all the production work now? How did they expect Ted to operate Bertha and do that at the same time? Like, brains, people, brains.
Something happened.
The interference on the video was caused by a spike in Bertha's positronic net. When she was required to perform a complex equation, always starting up, this kind of interference happened.
No one really knows what happened that night. It's not clear.
The heck you mean? No one knows what happened. I think it's clear as day what happened.
If you ask me, it was suicide.
The papers were all over the story saying terrible things about Bertha.
All I know is Bertha wasn't capable of murder. I knew her too well. We all did.
After all the publicity, they cancelled the TV show.
Again, what's with the news articles prioritizing something random than a sentient machine killing someone? What is up with that?
Then all the work started drying up. We kept running for a while, but wasn't long before we had to close down.
Thank God for Mr. Wilmake. He kept the property and paid for Bertha's power supply.
Mr. Wilmate managed to keep Bertha powered up for 10 years, all alone on that factory floor, until he passed away.
When the bills started arriving at Mr. Wilmake's
Sorry, I can't look at that scene with a straight face. I'm sorry.
benefactor's door, They were having none of it. They weren't gonna pay to keep some.
Hold up. It says on the newspaper this has been published in May 4th, 1986. And the show ended that year. And the factory meaning the factory wouldn't have closed. So did he just die like 2 days after the factory closed? Did he just go, nah, I'm with my wife? Just drops dead? Is that what Paul's implying here?
They always thought their dad was a bit mental, forking out large amounts of the kids' inheritance, or keeping a machine running.
Bertha's brain required constant power to keep running. Any kind of power loss and the positronic connections would begin to degrade like a human brain if deprived of oxygen. In effect, the brain would die.
Here's the thing I'm wondering. In the X series, the scenes when they switch Bertha off and she doesn't die. And Paul's implying, oh, if Bertha gets switched off, she dies like a real person if the oxygen supply was cut off. Even though there's I could risk 20 different scenes when stuff like this happens.
Stop, Bertha!
So, apparently, in Paul's mind, seems like that Bertha is slowly dying in pain. Okay.
A few of us got together and started a campaign to keep Bertha running. We wrote to everyone we could.
And along came the Reverend Timms.
The very notion that this machine is alive is an insult to the church as a whole.
Just don't tell him about Tom or what's been operated in the top left-hand corner of Wales.
Tim set up a whole campaign dedicated to shutting down Bertha. Eventually, he tried to have our campaign closed down at the High Court.
Christians around the world are having their human rights to worship infringed by this irresponsible campaign to keep this machine going.
The way he says that sounds like it's been something he's been preparing all his life for, and he's been practicing that speech in a mirror for the last 30 years of his life.
Timms won his case, and it was decided Bertha was to have her power shut off.
I think it was worse for Ted. He'd been Bertha's operator since she'd been at...
I'm just gonna know the fact that Paul was talking about the fact that Ted's been in the factory as long as Bertha. But this feels like something Ted will actually get very emotional about in the actual series.
the factory, and now he was required to shut her down.
I wish I could tell you Bertha's passing was quiet, dignified and without suffering, but I'm afraid I can't do that. When I cut the power, she made a sound I'll never forget. Like a scream, but a horrific metallic noise. Then she slowly faded away. But she never once took her eyes off me the whole time. I was the last thing she saw before she died.
Jesus Christ, this got emotional.
I noticed signs of break-ins around the building.
Kids were going in for a look, smash things up, see what they could nick.
They were stealing parts to sell. The day I saw one of Bertha's eyes on eBay, I was physically sick.
Then the army moved in, sealing off the place.
Oh yeah, the army moved in. No big deal. Back to the topic of what happened to Dave when he fell down the stairs at his home.
Soldiers, American agents, and the finest minds from Japan.
Ah, that's good old-fashioned family racism.
And I started getting the images on my PC at home. What seemed like meaningless noise was deciphered as Bertha's dreams. A chill went down my spine when I was shown them.
It seems Bertha had used the factory network to access the phone system and was again sending subconscious images to her operator.
Two things. Isn't Bertha meant to be dead? And second of all, the logical thing Ted should be doing here is...
I didn't recommend Ted to go back to the factory. What was left of her would not be the Bertha he remembered.
They don't understand. One of Bertha's nightmares would have me, switching her off.
Okay, to be fair, that was pretty well set up.
Back in the 80s, we could always depend upon Bertha. Sadly, Bertha couldn't depend upon us.
Oh, what? Yeah, he said it. He said the thing. You know, it's right how they say in the show. We can depend upon it. See, it's meant to be funny.
Us.
Hold on, if they were calling a documentary, this means that someone filming this off camera, like, wow, this is gonna come out so great on film. Plus, it's never gonna give me a promotion for catching this on camera. Yeah. Very lovely machine indeed. Hold on, if they shooting at helicopters in the sky, but the gun is pointing down, how is Bertha shooting at the helicopters? New profile pic unlocked. Well, that was an experience. So, what for the true story? Was it good or was it bad? Meh. It could have been worse. There were some points of it I did find myself enjoying, but mostly it was more like questioning the plot holes of the whole thing. It's also very clear at some points in the video Paul did not know certain facts about the series, specifically when Bertha arrived at the factory. And now another debate I've been seeing going around the internet. Was it better than Shed 17? Or these other films? Well, yeah, very much depends. Granted, both of the story has less plot holes than Shed 17, but I'm gonna leave it out up to you. Was True Story better than Shed 17? Shed 17 better than Perfect True Story? That's something for you all to decide. And until next time, stay strong, stay strong.